Have you ever been just sitting around and thoughts pop into your head that you can't shake? It's not like life-changing thoughts. Things that make you go, I appreciate you popping on to the Reason Solutions. My name is Mark Reason. So maybe it's a song, maybe it's a memory, maybe it's something you saw on your way to work. But that's how conversations start. One thought leads to another thought. Then a question leads to another question. And before you know it, you're talking about family, education, politics, community, culture, and everything in between. And that's exactly what I want this podcast to be about. Just conversations, talking to each other, not at each other, learning from each other, not yelling at each other, and not pretending that we have all the answers. But we can get to solutions if we have conversations. And we could agree to see the humanity in each other and just talk. Just honest conversations, different perspectives, and a chance to think a little deeper. I appreciate you spending a few minutes with me. So let's reason together. Always have 3 points of views each segment. So our first point of view, I jump off. The top 5 all-time Philadelphians are. Now you can say, hey, I don't live in Philadelphia. Well, in your city. But the top 5, not 6, not 7, not 8. Now, they could be top 5 homegrown or people we universally know that we've adopted as Philadelphians. And again, if you got a top 5 in your city, put them in the comments and line them up against the Philadelphians and see who cities has the best top 5s. So with that being said, my number 1 is Jimmy Rollins. First of all, he played for the Phillies. He was the first athlete that allowed me as a father to take my sons to a parade. Immediately picked them up after they signed in so they wouldn't get marked absent. And we walked from Roy and Cecil B. Moore all the way to Broad and Washington. Now, anybody that know the city know that's a long walk. But the subways was flooded. The trains was stopped. There was no traffic moving. Jimmy Rollins with a catalyst on getting us a World Series. And what made it even more special, they won it on my birthday. So maybe it was a birthday present for a brother. Number 2, Marian Anderson. The daughter of American Revolution's banned Marian Anderson from performing at the Constitution Hall in 1939 because she was black. At this time, the organization enforced a strict white artist-only policy for their auditorium, refusing to make an exception. Marian Anderson was an internationally acclaimed American singer, pivotal civil rights pioneer. She is most famously known for her historic 1939 open-air concert on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial, where she performed after being barred from singing at Constitution Hall. Number 3, Cecil B. Moore. He led protests to desegregate Girard College, which was in the heart of North Philadelphia that black boys from North Philly and the surrounding neighborhoods couldn't attend. We helped to desegregate that. Cecil B. Moore. Octavius V. Cato. Educator, intellectual, and pioneer civil rights leader. A century before the modern civil rights movement, he successfully campaigned for the desegregation of streetcars, recruiting black Union soldiers, and pioneered early African-American baseball. Cato was a major figure in Pennsylvania's state Equal Rights League, fighting for ratification of the 15th Amendment so African-American men could vote. And unfortunately, tragically, he was shot before he was able to exercise that right in 1871. And last, and definitely not least, A to the I. No more words need to be said, right? Allen Iverson. Yes, Virginia man, but we own him, we adopted him. So those are my top 5. Jimmy Rollins, Marian Anderson, Cecil B. Moore, Cato, and AI. Got a lot of complexity in my top 5. Let's just talk about it. And if you think that my top 5 are not in the right order, you can't just say I would replace this person without giving me some reasons for replacing. Tell me why your person is better. I'm open. Point number 2, politics. What if I told you politics is already in your life, even if you never talk about it? Most people say they're tired of politics. They don't like to talk about politics. I get that. Most people say that they don't have any time for politics. I get that too. And what if you understood that politics is about the schools your children attend, about the roads that have potholes in them in our cities, and about opportunities in our community. And just because we don't talk about politics, don't give us less politics. We just don't have the access, and we don't have the full transparency. So not talking about it won't make politics go away. And on that point, what I want to do is be the first to apologize about political stances. In the past, I've been that old man telling people to get off my lawn if they don't vote. That was wrong. I do apologize for that, and I will never go back to being that person. I do want to have this conversation, though, because I think it's important. And then we can grow, we can learn, and we can understand. And we don't have to be mean about it. And once we get back to that point of being able to do that as a people, then we'll have less strife and less drama. I think we can communicate and not agree with each other, and the person doesn't have to be evil and the worst person in the world. So when we did about politics on this pod, it's not about me being right, me having all the answers. We're just going to reason together and get to a point. My ultimate goal is to have more in common than we don't, regardless of what side we line up on them. So again, this is not a place for you if you want to drop in and shame people, bully people. It's not even a place for you to come in and say you're a Democrat, Republican, or a liberal. It's not it. It's not what we're doing. If you want to share that, that's great. But we want you to share points and reasons and rationales in the most simplistic form so we can all grow. We don't need people to come in and to show off their mental muscle of how much politics they know and how long they've been voting. We're trying to grow people that are interested in politics. And the last Philadelphia election, we had like a 28, 29% turnout. Terrible. We're excited when we get 45, 50% turnout. As a parent, would you accept your child bringing home a 50 on their test, a 28 on their test? We don't accept that and expect that from our children. But that's what we bring home as adults to our children. And that's funding, and that's schools, and that's recreation centers, that's programs, that's health and resources. All that stuff is tied up in the vote and elections. So as much as we fuss about report cards, it's been a daily report card on this city, Philadelphia, and cities throughout this country. Drop in the comments now. What's your thoughts about politics? And do you believe that politics is all around us? And even tell us why you don't, or why you do, or why you're indifferent, or why it makes you just cringe when you hear the word politics. Let's share. They say sharing is caring, so let's share. So we can all learn from each other. And my commitment is to comment and respond to all of the comments that are dropped, to let you see that I am listening, I am learning, and I'm responding. I'm just not talking. Point of view 3, education. So I want to go at this at a different way than education has been discussed in this city of Philadelphia. A quote by Martin Luther King said, "Education must enable one to sift and weigh evidence, to discern the true from the false, the real from the unreal, and the facts from the fiction. But education which stops with efficiency may prove the greatest menace to society. Why? The most dangerous criminal may be the man gifted with reason, but with no morals, know everything, got all the access, but don't care about anybody." Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King said that. The retirement age currently is 66. The average age of our schools in Philadelphia, our school buildings in Philadelphia, is approximately 73 to 75 years old, with some dating back 120 years. So you say they're closing 17 schools in Philadelphia. Many of them that have environmental hazards like asbestos and lead-based paint. They're not handicap accessible, no elevators, old buildings. So the fight in this city is now, they're closing 17 schools. Why are you closing these schools? They're closing schools that have not meeting occupancy levels, meaning they might be 20, 30% full, maybe even 40% full. So You got to turn the building on. Electricity. If you have air, you have to turn the air on, the lights, everything. You got to run the entire building, even though it's not fully occupied. And to make it even worse, it's not only not fully occupied, there's no waiting list to get into the school. But we're going to keep that school open because that's a good business model. I do feel bad for any teacher or any kid that has to go to a different school. Some students are going to schools that are newer than the ones that they're in. The key should be a quality education. We're fighting over a building. We're talking about buildings. We should be talking about quality education. A building doesn't lift everyone, especially old buildings that are past the retirement ages of humans. Then we need to start retiring some of these buildings. And also, we have a national teacher shortage. I come to see if some of the schools will fill because some of those students will go to other schools that aren't full. Those teachers from those 17 schools, unfortunately, will have to move, but they will not lose their jobs. So now we're getting better quality teachers filling in spots that we need to be filled already. It won't totally eliminate the teacher shortage, but it will add to cutting that number. So again, yes, closing schools are never a great thing. But we can't keep on kicking this can down the road. We can't continuously, year after year, come back with this same financial gap and have no solutions for it, have no answers. It just can't be the same situation each year, every year. So at some point in time, something has to be done, and hard decisions have to be made. And my frustration is there's too many people from all walks of life, all levels, that don't understand the situation or do understand and know that they're wrong by fighting for these schools to stay open. Sometimes we have to have hard conversations to grow. So let's grow. Let's talk. Let's reason. There's other finances out there that we need to try to get so we can make sure that these schools are properly funded, properly managed, and we're not wasting taxpayers' dollars because our kids deserve better. So everybody, that was our first. If you stayed this long, I do appreciate it. Make sure you hit the like. Make sure you leave comments. Thank you for taking this journey with me, people. I thank you for trying me out. This is a different space for me. I talk for a living because I'm an educator, 25 plus years. I'm in the community. I'm a committee person. I have a big aspirational goal about the world we live in. And I think we can make it a better place one conversation at a time. So again, thank you for joining the Reason Solutions. Peace.